This is an SD2IEC, and it's one of the most cost-effective ways to outfit your Commodore with modern mass storage. In past bits, I've sung the praises of the SD2IEC and demonstrated how it can completely transform your Commodore when paired with Jiffy DOS. Today, I'd like to show you some other features of the device I haven't previously talked about. In future bits, I'll compare it to competing products in the space, including the Pi 1541 and the 1541 Ultimate. The SD2IEC was initially released in 2008 by Ingo Korb. Derived from an existing project known as the MMC2IEC, the SD2IEC eventually became the successor to this earlier effort. Beginning life as an enhanced firmware for existing hardware, the project added many new features that were contributed by a host of developers, and in time shifted to support new, more powerful hardware based on the ATmega 644 microcontroller. Due to its open source firmware, many different flavors of the supporting hardware have emerged, including a plethora of external devices powered by either the user port or cassette port. There are also internal devices and more powerful variants such as the Micro IEC and Evo 2. So where does the SD2IEC fit in with all the other Commodore disk drive emulators on the market? First and foremost, the SD2IEC is not a Commodore floppy disk emulator in the traditional sense, like the Pi 1541, 1541 Ultimate, 1541 EMU, etc. What it is a mass storage device, modeled after the line of CMD hard drives that can interface with a Commodore 8-bit home computer via the IEC serial bus. It is able to present an SD card's FAT file system, including directories and partitions, to the host machine, in addition to mounting well-known disk image formats such as D64, D71, D81, and 16 megabyte CMD disk-native partition files. The device implements many common disk I/O commands such as load, save, copy, and scratch, as well as many more advanced commands that we'll look at shortly. The SD2IEC does not attempt to emulate a 1541's onboard 6502 processor, ROM, or RAM, which leads to incompatibilities that we'll also discuss later. What the SD2IEC does well is it allows you to store gigabytes of software, disk images, music files, and more on an SD card from your PC and access them quickly and easily on your Commodore. And when I say quickly, I'm not kidding around. In episode 7, I benchmarked a 1541 drive and compared the performance to the SD2IEC. The unaccelerated 1541 was able to load a 27.5 kilobyte file in 71 seconds, resulting in a transfer rate of almost 400 bytes per second. With Jiffy DOS enabled, we saw the 1541's time cut down to a mere 12 seconds at a rate of around 2 kilobytes per second. When it was the SD2IEC's turn, this was the result. As I've previously stated, this level of performance is completely transformative. Waiting 2 minutes to load software from a floppy is a relic of ancient history. Short of loading software from a cartridge or RAM disk, the only way you're going to see faster performance is with a parallel attached floppy or hard drive, a Lieutenant Colonel SCSI disk, or the like. At the time, I didn't benchmark the SD2IEC without Jiffy DOS, or when using a fast load cartridge, so let's do that now. First up is the SD2IEC without any acceleration. We're testing the same single file program as before. The results here are pretty much what we expected. There are no moving parts to spin up or seek times here, but the transfer speeds are in the same ballpark as an unaccelerated 1541. The SD2IEC supports a variety of popular fast loaders. In this test, I'll be using the old standby, the tried and true Epix fast load. Wow, this is the granddaddy of fast loader cards and has been superseded by devices like the Final Cartridge 3, but still look at that improvement. That's over 1000% faster. Insane. With the device's performance well established now, let's see what else this thing can do. First, let's format an SD card with a couple of FAT32 partitions and copy some software and disk images. You'll note that I'm copying both disk image and RAW files to the SD card's file system. One of the most powerful features that sets the SD2IEC apart from other drive emulator devices is the ability to work like a CMD hard disk drive and present itself as a mass storage device to the host system. We'll see how this can be used later, but it gives us a ton of flexibility in how we work with files and images. One of the more common ways to use the SD2IEC is with a file browser. There are a number of different variations available, but the gist is that they let you interactively move around the file system, mount and unmount disk images, and launch software. They are a simple way to use the device, especially on a system that does not have Jiffy DOS or a DOS wedge available. My preferred way of using the device is from the basic command prompt. With Jiffy DOS or a DOS wedge, you can easily move between directories and mount and unmount disk images with simple commands just like you would on a Windows, Mac, or Linux PC. Similarly, you can create directories and subdirectories on the SD card to easily organize your software any way you'd like. You can load, run, and save programs directly to the SD card from BASIC. In episode 4, I demonstrated running ccgms term from outside of a disk image and downloading a D64 directly to the SD card. It simply isn't possible to do this on other devices that emulate a 1541 because they cannot operate outside of a disk image, and it's not possible to download or use a D64 from inside of another D64. When I set up the SD card on the PC earlier, I created two partitions, one for tools and the other for games. Just like using a hard drive, you can list available partitions and switch between them with simple DOS commands. For multi-disk games, you can create an autoswap file in the same directory that contains your disk images. After that, it's just a matter of using the swap button on the device to instantly change which image is mounted, so you can continue playing your game uninterrupted when it asks for disk 2 or 3. If you didn't set up an autoswap file on your PC, it's easy to do with the SD card in situ. Holding down both swap buttons at the same time will automatically generate an autoswap file for you in the current directory and mount up the first disk image in the list. In addition to the file browsers, there are a number of SD2IEC aware utilities that provide some great features like this one called SD Browse. In addition to basic navigation functions, it also allows you to copy, rename, and delete files, as well as creating directories using a Norton Commander style layout. Its party piece is the ability to create a new D64 image on your SD2IEC from a real disk drive, or create a real disk from a D64, as in this demonstration. A convenient feature is that the drive number can be selected using switches on the rear or through DOS commands. In fact, the firmware provides for a number of settings to be changed using X commands, such as how the device handles file extensions, Jiffy DOS, 1581 style wildcard matching, swap lists, free block calculation, and more. Another convenience is a sleep mode that stops the device from listening on the IEC bus. Using this feature, you can switch to a real disk drive on the same device number or hide the drive from incompatible software. Alright, so let's talk pros and cons, starting with the good stuff. The SD2IEC is one of the least expensive modern storage solutions, starting at just over $30 US. Put in perspective, it gives you much greater storage capacity and many of the features of a CMD hard drive for less than 2% of the original price. A 200 megabyte CMD drive would have cost the equivalent of $3,000 US in today's currency. Next, it offers blazing speed when coupled with Jiffy DOS or a fast load cartridge. The device presents as mass storage, giving you full access to the SD card's file system as well as many popular disk image formats, something competing devices do not offer. It implements many useful DOS commands, including navigating through directories and partitions, as well as controlling the device configuration itself. The firmware is open source and can be updated from the SD card. Also, GEOS 2.0 is supported and works great. Okay, that sounds great, but there's gotta be a catch, right? Well, let's talk about the elephant in the room. By design, the SD2IEC is not a 1541 emulator. As such, it simply will not work with software-based fast loaders or copy-protected software. For those who prefer to use original copies of software, this is usually a deal breaker. For me, the lack of 1541 compatibility isn't a big deal, as there are very few pieces of software that haven't had their copy protection removed or been modified to work, such as GEOS. The SD2IEC serves as my primary storage device, but works great alongside other fully 1541 compatible devices for the rare occasion I need them. Another issue is that for the time being, the SD2IEC only offers partial relative file support. Reading existing rel data works from the FAT file system, but writing is not fully supported. Except for this issue, the device seems like a perfect solution for running a BBS, but you'll likely have to store your user files on another medium. Also, early on, some cheap clones did not include the bootloader that fetches firmware from the SD card upon startup. Beware of these devices as they cannot be easily updated. So there we have it. The SD2IEC is, in my opinion, a must-have accessory for your Commodore 8-bit and complements your existing disk drives, 1541 emulators, and cartridge-based storage solutions. It's affordable, packed with powerful features, and most important of all, lightning fast. I hope you enjoyed this bit. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on RetroBits.